Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our reading lesson. Today, we are going to talk more about our big question, which is, how can people help to make your community better? So we read a book yesterday called Roadwork, and one of the ways that people can help make a community better is by making better roads and creating new roads. We are also going to review our letters that we are reviewing this week. When I point to the letter, can you please tell me which letter it is? Are you ready? O, D, C, I, N. What sound does I make? I says I, like igloo, or we know it says I. What sound does N make? Like nest. So it says N. What about C? What sound does C make? Like with this picture? K, k, like cat. What about O? What does O say like with this picture? Ah, like octopus. Very good. What about this letter? What sound does D make? D, d, like dolphin. All right, let's go over our sight words that we are reviewing. What is up at the top? You, do. One more time. You, do. To, and go. One more time. To and go. Very good. All right, boys and girls, this week we are talking about all about how people can make your community better. So we are going to read an informational text called A Community Garden. Now remember, an informational text is nonfiction, so we are going to learn. All right, A Community Garden. People plant gardens to improve their neighborhood. Let's see how they do it. They pull out the weeds, then they get the soil ready for planting. Many people, pull it over this way more. Many people help out in a community garden. First, they dig up the soil. Next, they plant flower and vegetable seeds. Then they water the seeds. So that's what this little girl's doing, and that's what these kids are doing. They're planting and then they're watering. Volunteers go to the garden each day. They enjoy working together. They make sure the plants have everything they need to grow. The garden makes the neighborhood beautiful. The vegetables are fresh. The flowers are pretty. People share the flowers and vegetables. How could you help in a community garden? So what's one idea you have? How could you help in a community garden? Could you do the digging and the planting? Could you do the watering? Or one other thing is you have to pick out the weeds to make sure they don't take over the garden. Could you do the weeding for people? These are all very good ways of helping making your community better. So, does anybody else know of a good way that you could help your community to make it better? In the fall, Mrs. G, when I lived in the neighborhood, Mrs. G and her now husband, we used to go and rake people's yards for them in the fall when they had leaves on them. And then in the winter, we would shovel. We had older people that lived around us, and we would shovel their driveways for them. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have learned a lot this week. And I will see you for our lesson next week.